Good morning. What we're looking at today is the MCove MK75 battery monitor. There'll be two videos. One is about how to install the unit and the other one is about how to operate it. This first video will look at the packaging, which is all here. Pretty much the main components that arrive are any instructions that come with it, the shunt that comes with it, and also the main unit, which is the MK75 battery monitor. In terms of installation, it's quite simple. You need to have a square hole to fit the unit into a panel, and it comes with clips on the side which are ratcheting. They allow you to take these off. You push the battery monitor unit itself into the square cutout that you've made, and then you just reach behind and slide these ratcheting clips into place, and that's what secures the unit onto your panel. And then in terms of wiring the unit, there's a terminal block here which has just four connections on it, and they're marked with battery positive and ground, and sense minus and sense positive. Battery positive goes to the battery positive terminal, or very close to it if you can't quite reach it. Ground similarly goes to the black or negative or ground terminal on the battery, and then the sense plus and sense negative wires go to these two connections here on the shunt. Okay, we'll switch over to the whiteboard now and we'll show you the wiring diagram, how to get it wired up. Okay, let's have a look now at the wiring and how to connect these four terminal connections on the battery monitor and the shunt to the rest of your system. So a normal battery system, we'll look at a normal battery system first without any kind of battery monitor installed. And that's simply a battery with a positive and negative terminal on the battery and the main wires that come out to whatever else is connected to the system. Now let's say you might have a load, like a light globe. Try and draw a light globe. Okay, so we might have the terminals somewhere here, and we'll connect this wire and this wire to the light globe, and the battery will power the light globe. We might also have a solar panel or a charger or something else that charges the battery system. So let's put a solar panel here, and the two wires from there again go to the positive and the negative of the battery system. So you can have the light globe running and the solar panel connected, and everything else is you need to connect all set up with your system like that, and that's the normal installation of a battery system without a battery monitor. Okay. Once we come to installing the battery monitor, we need to install the shunt and also the unit itself. Okay. The first thing we have to do is to cut or break the ground wire on the battery system, and into that we install the shunt here. Okay, let's have a go at drawing that. So it's a bit like this. Okay, so you'll need to cut the main ground wire, install a lug onto each end of the cuts that you've made, and install those onto the shunt at the top here. Okay, and that's all we have to do to allow us to have a battery monitor system installed with an existing battery system. Okay, at that point what we're going to do is measure the voltage of the system from these two terminals. Okay, we're going to measure the current which is flowing into or out of the system with the shunt here. Okay, the shunt measures in both directions, and that simply requires four wires to be connected. So here's the main battery monitor unit, and we have four connections to be made: sense positive, sense negative, ground, and battery positive. And what I'll do now is show you how to wire those together. Let's start with the battery positive and battery negative. So battery positive simply goes from here down to the positive terminal of the battery. Battery negative or ground simply goes from here down to the ground or negative terminal of the battery. And that's those two wires connected. When you install those, try and make those connections directly to the battery itself if you can, or at least very close to it, because anything further away will show less accurate voltage readings due to voltage drop with currents flowing in and out of the system. Okay, we have two wires left to connect, which is the sense positive and the sense minus or negative. Okay, the way to figure that out is that if you look at the shunt itself, it has a more positive end, which is this end, which is more closely connected to the positive terminal, and a negative end, which is this end connected more close to the negative terminal of the battery. Okay, so we simply wire sense positive down to this end, the positive end, and sense negative down to this end, the negative end of the thing. And that's all we have to do to wire up the battery system. When you do it, I'd suggest installing this one last, so you can connect power to the system last. If you manage to get these two connected back to front, it's not going to matter, it's just going to show current going into the system when it's actually going out, and vice versa, it'll just be back to front. Okay. In terms of thickness of wires, a typical battery system has rather large cables, which are the main cables going to whatever else has been used, the loads and the charging sources. Okay. All of these wires, which connect from the battery monitor to the shunt and to the battery, do not need to be large wires. They can be as thin as you like, and they can be really as long as you like as well. We've tested this with up to 50 metres or 150 feet thereabouts in length, and that's been absolutely fine. So the key requirements are try and install the positive and negative connections as close as you can to the terminals of the battery, otherwise you'll get slightly less accurate voltage readings further away. Try and install the shunt reasonably close to the battery itself, and then just get the positive end and the negative end of the shunt wired to the two sense positive and sense negative terminals on the battery monitor. And that is it. Once that's done, everything's up and running, and you'll be monitoring your battery system